Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down.
All right, here we are, folks.
Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up.
Welcome back once again. This is Chris Report, and he assured me that since I'm down in Boulders, folks, this is Chris Wyatt reporting from South Africa. Well, camera not working properly there. Welcome back to the program, folks. Today's day is Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. Super Tuesday. That's right. Super Tuesday here in the United States. 15, 16 states. I don't know what the exact count is. The media keep incorrectly reporting the number. I thought it was 15, but I saw today on a couple media outlets at 16. I don't know who slipped in there. But the key thing is that in Super Tuesday today, Donald Trump will appear on all ballots in every state that's holding a Republican primary or caucus today. And 4 of them are closed, including California, thankfully, but many of them are a mix of what's going on here. Anyway, open primaries for independents, in some cases, open primaries for everybody. So we are unlikely to see Donald Trump reach the threshold of 1,215 delegates to get the nomination today. Nonetheless, he'll make a lot of ground up today. So Supreme Court made a tremendous decision yesterday in recognition of the U.S. Constitution, and the left is melting down over it. I'm going to run through briefly, show you a series of fake news opinion articles that are claiming the Republic is dead, the Constitution is dead letter. Of course, it's ignored every day by the Biden administration, yet they don't complain about that. The Constitution is not dead, it's alive, and the justices in a 9-0 decision determined that the 14th Amendment is not something the states have any authority over, and we recognize that, those of us who actually understand the rule of law. But let's just go ahead and get to that story. Welcome to everybody in the chat. I'll say hello to you very quickly, then we'll get on to it. I've got a lot of news stories today, and I've got to run off for physical therapy a little bit later on. Helen Duplessis. Helen, haven't seen you here in a bit. Haven't seen you on other channels, so it's good to see you again. Teresa, Jan Filionen. Garrett is back from Somerset West. Val Cooper. Trevor Bush. Ulrich Fenter. Dan Hook is here. Emil Tharrett is there. Brian Lawrenson. Teresa. Ants is back. Hey, Ants. George Steinberg. George, I guess I saw your message you posted on my video about the Trump thing. You never saw that. That's on my original channel. That channel has still got a heavy thumb of censorship suppression on it. And YouTube keeps stealing my subscribers. I had 23,000. They keep taking them away. I'm down now to just 20,300. Which is sad. I'll go below the 20,000 threshold soon, it looks like, on that channel. So I have to put content on there occasionally, but YouTube does its best to prevent people from seeing it. It's really amazing how effective shadow banning and censorship are. You know, it really is. It really is. Anyway, so Paulie's here. Hey, Paulie. And Hendo's here. Social media platforms globally don't accept Telegram. That's true. Oh, you mean they're not, you can't get on them right now, okay? Or do you mean viewership's down? Vesel Badenhorst, that's a cool name, Vesel. There's a car dealership not too far from me called Vessels. Yep. Little Miss Know-It-All is back. Hey, good to see the Sedgefield is back. Been through Tumble Dry. Mobile stolen. That's why we haven't seen you. You had your phone stolen while you were at the police station. Oh, good Lord. What an incredible situation. Julie Russell says, my phone is blowing up as all my family freak out over not being able to access Facebook, Instagram, other platforms today. I've been on Facebook. Let me just take a look and see if I can get to it. It's probably, let me see, Facebook. Yep, I'm on Facebook. Oh, it's saying I'm logged out. What the hell is, oh, okay, I'm not going to go there. It's saying I'm logged out of Facebook. Let me try Instagram. Okay. Yeah, it's telling me I'm logged out of Instagram too. Ooh, okay. Well, apparently someone's acting malevolently here. All right. Well, wow. Sorry to hear about that, folks. I didn't know that, but YouTube apparently still functioning for the moment. Kiwis are known to be casual racists. While I was playing with a club in Nelson, teams were always calling islanders derogatory names. No good. My Facebook also has problems. Well, Menage a Qual, the racist Kiwis I'm talking about are Maori. They're not the whiteys. They're not the whiteys. We're going to talk about the racist Maori. Yep. Hi, David was on the scene of hostage. Oh my goodness, David was at the McDonald's where the hostage situation was taking place. My goodness, are down and out. So, my name is pronounced Van Brink. Ivan Van Brink. Okay. Well, that doesn't help me. Ivan. You spelled it Ivan Brink. Well, do you pronounce it like Russians and Germans do, Ivan? Or Ivan, like Americans do? Locked out of Facebook, password does not function. Yeah. No, Jan, it's everybody. It's everybody, apparently. I was on Facebook last night. Thankfully, I put something up. So, yeah. Anyway, you just said, yes, that doesn't help me. I asked 2 questions. Come on, man. Help a brother out. I asked you 2 questions. Saying yes doesn't help me. Oh, come on. All right. Well, let's go with what we've got. Social media. Let's get a big crowd over here on the PooTube. Right. The Supreme Court has restored Donald John Trump to the ballot, correctly stating what I've said all along. What did I say when Colorado first did this demonic act in December? They tried him, claiming he committed insurrection. Their evidence was the fake January 6th, politically motivated, garbage nonsense, factually incorrect January 6th insurrection investigation by the corrupt Democratic House of Representatives. That's what they used as evidence, including Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney, Democrats at heart and in practice. That corrupt information and social media is what they used to claim that Donald Trump was guilty of insurrection. The Colorado court that tried him in absentia. And of course, the Supreme Court said since he was found guilty of insurrection, which he wasn't, then they decided 4-3 that he was off the ballot because it's their prerogative. But it's not their prerogative. The 14th Amendment supersedes states' rights, unfortunately. And, we're hearing the irony from leftists who are bumhurt. Oh, conservatives are always complaining about states' rights and the supremacy of federalism. Yeah, we are complaining about it. We're still right to complain about it. The 16th, the 17th Amendment are abominations, and the 14th Amendment insurrection clause was well-intentioned, but is also an abomination, and it does not give the states the right to supersede federal offices. And that's what they said. I told you that from the very beginning, and once again, it just hurts being right all the time. It hurts being right all the time. Alhendo's got a fever. Okay. 2 minutes from where we live. He's on security group. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. All right, Shireen. Wow, that's interesting. That's some crazy stuff. So, I don't know the current situation. There was no updated report, not the Russian. Okay, Ivan. So, Ivan. Thank you, Ivan. There you go, not the Russian pronunciation. So, Ivan. All right. Well, I never know with South Africans and your Afrikaans pronunciation and things, I mean, who pronounces a G? Come on, man. Nobody does that. In German, it's glücklich. In Afrikaans, it'd be like glücklich. It's Ronaldo Gauls, not Ronaldo Gauls. Come on, man. Come on. It's tough. You got to help a brother out. Anyway, light rain is here. Let's get to the story. This is in the Wall Street Journal and it was reported everywhere. And yesterday, I also reported it too. So let's get to this story. And by the way, folks, just be calm. Stay calm. In Afrikaans. There you go. All right, let's get on to the news. Lots of news to cover today before I head out of the office today. All right. Hello. There we go. Supreme Court restores Donald Trump's ballot eligibility, reverses Colorado's idiotic decision that illegally disqualified Trump. Supreme Court ruled unanimously Monday that states lack the power to reject presidential candidates on the grounds that they engage in rebellion and insurrection against the U.S., a decision that restored former President Donald Trump's name to Colorado's ballot and ended similar challenges to his candidacy elsewhere. So think about this. Colorado does not have authority beyond the boundaries of the state of Colorado. Yet Colorado was making a decision that he couldn't be president of the United States. No, that isn't how it works. No. You cannot determine a federal office holder based on state rights. Constitution makes Congress rather than the states responsible for enforcing Section 3 of the 14th Amendment against federal office holders and candidates. And that's the bottom line. That's what I told you all along. Now, here's some news that I'm sure many of my viewers in South Africa are going to rejoice. They'll be dancing. They'll be doing Irish jig. Yeah, shut up, Begana. This is some good news. A lot of people in South Africa are going to be very happy about this. A lot of people in Ukraine and Russia will be very happy about this. Ladies and gentlemen, the retirement of one Victoria Nuland has been announced by the Biden regime's State Department. On the retirement of Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs, Victoria Nuland. Victoria Nuland has let me know that she intends to step down in the coming weeks as Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs, a role which she has personified President Biden's commitment to putting diplomacy back at the center of our foreign policy and revitalize America's global leadership at a crucial time for our nation and the world. Now, if Victoria Nuland and Winkin' Blinken and Nod, Antony Blinken, and Joe Biden think that America has been restored at its position in the world politics, let's just run through the list of Biden failures. Are you ready for this? I'll just do the short list. Myanmar, nothing done. Okay, go from there. Putin moving 70,000 troops to the Russian border, no action taken. Putin invading Ukraine. Joe Biden funding a proxy war on behalf of the piano-playing grifter-in-chief Volodymyr Zelensky and stripping our reserves of rounds and missiles, and not to mention hardware. Afghanistan, the debacle in Afghanistan. Gaza, the debacle in Israel. Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Somalia, Sudan, all foreign policy failures. China, South China Seas ran into a Philippine Coast Guard vessel today. Yeah, the epic failures of foreign policy under the Biden regime are amazing. It's no wonder Victoria Nuland is leaving office. Apparently, there's no government she can undermine and overthrow. Yeah, I guess Ukraine was the last one. Toria's tenure caps 3.5 decades of remarkable public service under 6 presidents and 10 secretaries of state, starting with the very first posting as a consular officer in Guangzhou, China. Toria had most of the jobs in this department: political officer, economic officer, spokesperson and chief of staff deputy, assistant secretary and assistant secretary, special envoy, and ambassador. What makes Toria truly exceptional is the fierce passion she brings to fighting for what she believes in most: freedom, democracy, human rights, and America's enduring capacity to inspire and promote these values around the world. This is what's known, ladies and gentlemen, as propaganda. Victoria Nuland is known for undermining democracy in Ukraine. Victoria Nuland is known for interfering in the affairs of South Africa. Victoria Nuland is known for lots of things, but it's not her fierce commitment to democracy and human rights. Nope. So where are all of the people who hate Victoria Nuland? I don't see you in my chat today. I thought you would be here. Now, let me distinguish for you once again propaganda versus news reporting. There you go. Hendo's finally commented on it. And Erica. Hey, Erica, let me comment on this. So this is a news story in News 24. I'm going to read to you one sentence, and you'll see why this is propaganda, not fact. The water is being carried for its willing fellow travelers in the African National Congress by none other than News 24. The ANC's top 7 are combing through the party's list of candidates in earnest after a meeting of National Executive Committee put the ball in their court to deal with the tainted leaders. How exactly does Siamtanda Kappa know that the ANC is doing so in earnest? That is opinion. That is not a fact. We don't know that they're doing it in earnest. Is Siamtanda sitting in the ANC NEC meetings watching this happen? Is this reporter for News 24 present to confirm that it's an earnest effort? That is just propaganda, ladies and gentlemen. Pure and simple. Carrying the water for the ANC, helping them to make the false claim that they're getting rid of their accused and their genuine criminals in their leadership ranks. Yeah, and if you read the story, there's more propaganda in there. It is not news, it's propaganda. Well, drama at a McDonald's, which apparently somebody who watches our show was at. Yeah, drama at McDonald's in Durban after an employee took 3 managers hostage with a knife. This story, I haven't found any updates online, and since you can't get to any of the other sites, disgruntled McDonald's employee has escalated a workplace dispute into a full-blown crisis by taking 3 senior staff members hostage at the Berea Road McDonald's in Durban. Police sources have confirmed the suspect, a woman whose identity is not known, is currently armed with a knife and has barricaded herself and the hostages on the top floor of the eatery's 2-story building. Wow. She was due to attend a disciplinary hearing at the venue, but instead launched into a desperate and dangerous act. Eyewitnesses described the scene of chaos as the woman, armed and increasingly agitated, demanded to be addressed directly by the company's chief executive. Okay. SAPs, along with private security ambulance services, were on the scene and established a secure perimeter around McDonald's. They found out just after 1:30 p.m. 1:30 p.m., folks. Wow. So it is now currently, what time is it now? How can that be right? 1:30 p.m. Did this really just happen minutes ago? Anyway. Yeah, it's 6:17. I was going to say. Unhappy meal in Durban. Yeah, exactly. Unhappy meal. She's seated on a chair and shouting to victims to call senior management to arrest her, tells the staff they are taking the food out of her mouth. I have nothing to lose, she says. Wow, developing story. Anyway, Shireen, got any updates for us? McDonald's is clear, person arrested, nobody hurt. Excellent, there's the update. Thank you, Shireen, for the update. So, nothing. She's probably just upset that she's getting sacked because she's lazy. Just supposition on my part, but probably a pretty legitimate assumption there. Right. Well, it started in earnest, folks. I've told you that the ANC will do anything they can to remove MK from the ballot. Well, I don't know who's responsible for this, and I'm not implying that the ANC, we don't know that ANC has anything to do with it, but the political assassinations have now gone beyond IFP, ANC, ACDP, and DA. Political assassinations now also include MK. An MK party organizer killed in a political hit at the Umlazi Hotel. KwaZulu police said the Umlazi police were investigating a case of murder after Vusimusi Blesser Ntuli was shot in Umlazi's Tehois hostel. Police spokesperson said the police are investigating a case of murder following an incident in which a 48-year-old man was shot and killed at a hostel on March 2nd. Deceased was with a friend when he was murdered in a parking lot. No motive is known, but he is an active member of the MK party. In a statement released by the MK's Umlazi task team, the party said it was observing a 6-day mourning period for Ntuli, who was a voting district coordinator at the hostel. As the MK party, we've lost a great cater. His presence in the political space was like a baobab tree that provided comforting shade that served as protection and security for us all, especially Ward 74 and the Umlazi district. MK party spokesperson condemned the killing, saying we plead for political tolerance. Leaders need to be responsible with their utterances to their supporters because it leads to violence. Well, you can start with Julius Malema, who calls for the murder of whites. If you want people to be politically tolerant and you want people to be careful about what they're saying, why don't you just start with Julius Malema? That's a good start. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's true. Many of us have claimed for years that the EFF and the ANC bribe voters with KFC three-piece Streetwise meals and T-shirts. Well, this article, released first-person account in News 24 today, confirms at least the ANC does that. Sifo Masondo says order of KFC for all, just standard practice in the ANC. Wow. The cater deployment storm that swept across the country like a sexually transmitted infection over the past 2 weeks reminded me of an incident I will never forget. It was the first week of January 2019. I was sitting in a restaurant with the chief executive of a state-owned entity in one of the many restaurants dotting Durban's Golden Mile. While we sat there draining our glasses, and this is a very interesting story, draining our glasses, he fielded a call from a senior ANC figure in KZN. I could hear the conversation was about. My jaw dropped. The person on the other end of the line instructed the executive use his parastatal's credit card to buy hundreds of thousands of KFC meals to feed the people who were expected to descend on Moses Madiba Stadium for the ANC's annual January 8th statement. At the end of the telephone conversation, the executive explained he'd just been instructed to do was standard practice in government departments, state-owned enterprises, and municipalities. How else did I expect the government party to run its day-to-day operations, finance elections, and pay for stadiums, and feed hundreds of thousands of supporters, he asked me. Directors General of Government Departments and Chief Executive of State-Owned Enterprises are appointed by the ANC, he said, adding that they are reminded of this from time to time so when the governing party comes knocking looking for financial support, they toe the line. Well, I think that Masondo is probably in a little bit of physical danger here now after letting the cat out of the bag. If the story above is anything to go by, we can assume as a foregone conclusion the ANC continuously places directors general and chief executive of state-owned enterprises on duress to channel money to the ANC, whether it's through buying KFC meals for supporters, attending political events, or paying for the hiring of stadiums and buses to transport party followers to rallies. Well, there you go. As many political analysts and commentators aptly point out in the last fortnight, in the normal course of business, there's nothing wrong with a political party appointing its trusted cadres to senior positions. But even under the best of circumstances, appointing cadres to influential government positions is fraught with incredible pitfalls. Yep. There are several cases of dead wood deployed to state-owned enterprises. Dudu Mjeni at South African Airways, Hlaudi Motsaneng at SABC, and Popo Molofe as chairperson collapsed both the passenger rail service to South Africa and Transnet are just a few cases. Yep, absolutely brilliant. Yep, no, this guy's got it. He's got it. Masondo's probably in trouble there. Yeah, former minister of police, yes, police minister, Nati Nhleko has quit the African National Congress. Former Minister of Police Nati Nhleko is the latest politician from the ANC to jump ship after another former parliamentarian quit more than weeks ago. In a letter to senior ANC leaders, he said he was unhappy with a number of things in the party. He had a fault with ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula after the latter publicly said they lied about the report in Conla a few years back. Wow. So he's quit the ANC. So where's he going to go? MK? Mm-hmm. In the letter, he makes reference to comments by Mbalula. Mbalula made comments about MK. In the recent attack mounted against my person by Mr. Fikile Mbalula, Secretary General of the ANC, about what he called my sweating, the fire pole narrative, and what he called were lies to protect the former president, he closed his attack by stating that people lost their careers because of this thing. The trend of gradually dismantling state-owned enterprises and subsequently privatizing them covertly is exemplified by the situation at Transnet. Transnet volumes exceed 220 million in 2018. That figure dropped. It hasn't been privatized. What the hell is he talking about? This guy's clueless. Another ANC cater who's just bum hurt, but he got exposed. Yeah. Well, the ANC, desperate to cling on to power wherever it can, is in a tough spot in Acre Helene, where the prison suit wearing EFF physically attacked people last week. But the ANC says, well, we're not really sure, what's going on here. Acre Helene Council punch up. ANC won't say whether divorcing the EFF is in the cards. Yeah, they're not sure whether they can get away from the EFF because they'll lose power. So, you can beat up our counselors in session and we'll just keep you as part of our alliance, says the ANC. Is Facebook working for you? Let me try mine. Maybe it's back up now. Is that Facebook? Nope, still telling me I'm signed out. And I'm in. Okay. All right. Let's see. Instagram must have been down big time. Oh. It won't let me in Instagram. Okay, Facebook. It wants something I don't have. Yeah. Well, changes for school uniforms. Ladies and gentlemen, while minorities are being murdered at the behest of a leader of a political party in South Africa, one Julius Malema, while bigotry and anti-Semitism are rife in South Africa, while racism remains a serious issue in South Africa, the South African Captured Human Rights Commission is busy investigating school uniforms, the cost of school uniforms. That's what they're focused on. Yep. The Department of Basic Education says we'll consider reviewing the need for different summer and winter uniforms in response to the South African Captured Human Rights Commission investigation into the affordability of uniforms in the country. Seriously? So this is what the Captured Human Rights Commission is focused on? It's not just that, though. They're also concerned about hairstyles. It unfairly discriminates against certain people. Yeah, they flagged two other issues related to over-regulation of appearances at schools. These include hair, especially where certain racial and gender or cultural groups are disproportionately affected, and permissions for gender nonconforming learners to use gender-affirming uniforms. That's transgender boys wearing girls' clothing. Yeah, okay. Well, the medical crisis in South Africa with cholera, HIV, tuberculosis, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, massive rates of obesity, and just infectious disease all over the place now. Cholera, and here we have conjunctivitis, pink eye. Over 1,000 students, 1,000 kids. More than 1,000 pink eye cases confirmed in KZN. We continue to urge the public to avoid pink eye infection by practicing good personal hygiene, such as regular hand washing, to avoid the sharing of face cloths, eye cosmetics, and pillows. How are you supposed to wash your hands in the poo water that Durban provides? eThekwini's poo water is not helpful. Well, fuel of it. Petrol prices in South Africa. Petrol attendant arrested for allegedly stealing 400,000 rand from motorist bank cards. My goodness. He used a skimmer to steal 400,000 rand. Hawk spokesperson Captain Denio Lucy Sekotodi said the man allegedly stole more than 400,000 rand through a card skimming operation, and the final amount is still being determined. This was at the Shell Ultra City Middelburg on the N4 in Mpumalanga. Hawks were first alerted to the matter after internal audits by ABSA and FMB. Investigators showed there may be a skimming device among the petrol tonnage at the garage. He's been charged with contravention of Cybercrimes Act and expected to appear in court today. During a search, the suspect who was on duty was found in possession of the skimming device. He was arrested and detained pending his first court appearance. So, they caught him with the device. Should be pretty easy to do forensics when he was there and put him in jail. Gauteng will spend 4.1 billion rand, which isn't really much money, on highways in the most populous and densely packed province of South Africa, in the wealthiest province, the busiest, most industrialized province, in the next 4 years. 4 years, not 1 year, 4 years, 4.1 billion. Now, the Gauteng government also is going to get funding to pay part of the 13 billion rand e-toll debt that's owed. Who do they owe this toll to? Is it owed to a private company? I mean, who do they owe this money to? Because they keep talking about how they owe money. Yes, the province has approached financial institutions to raise money required to honor its contractual obligations, noting that the target for ending the tolling of the Gauteng Freeway Improvement Project is March 31st. Meanwhile, I've been fleeced out of so much money when I travel to South Africa for that crappy purple light, like I'm getting irradiated thing. Sharks Bongiambanambi apologizes for the Amy Barrett Thrawn incident. Yep, controversial incident referee. Sharks captain Bongiambanambi said he meant absolutely no disrespect in his treatment of referee Amy Barrett Thrawn in the side's loss to the Lions. Trailing 19-10, the visitors thought they had scored a try before halftime, only to have the try overruled. He was not happy with the decision and has since been called out for his treatment of Barrett Thrawn. Now, the referee handled the situation well. In a message Sharks fans shared on Twitter yesterday about the result and the side's poor form, Bongi also addressed the incident with the official. As players, we have to take a hard look at ourselves after this result. We cannot blame anyone else and have a lot of hard work ahead of us. I'm an all-in type of player. Sometimes my emotions may get the better of me. He also said he apologized at halftime to her. I have full respect for officials and the role they play within our sport. It was never my intention to come across as rude or difficult. I apologized to the referee at halftime. It meant absolutely no disrespect. There you go. So there you go. So we can stop this nonsense about Bongiambanambi. He did apologize. His behavior was a bit rude on the pitch. She handled it well. He apologized, and we move on. United States sanctions Zimbabwe's crocodile Emerson Mnangagwa over human rights abuses. U.S. Monday sanctioned President Emerson Mnangagwa, his wife, and other government officials for their alleged involvement in corruption and human rights abuses. This story by Fatima Hussein at the Associated Press. Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control imposed sanctions on these three entities, 11 people, including Vice President Constantine Chiwenga and retired Brigadier General Walter Tafumanyane. Mnangagwa was accused of protecting gold and diamond smugglers who operate in Zimbabwe, directing government officials to facilitate the sale of gold and diamonds in illicit markets and taking bribes in exchange for services. Now, what's not mentioned here, and is mentioned in another story, is that Joe Biden illegitimately terminated the Zimbabwe national emergency and revoked Zimbabwe's specific sanctions, all of which were directed against parastatals and companies owned by corrupt ZANU-PF officials who have been responsible for the abduction, the rape, the murder, and the disappearance of many opposition political leaders, not to mention the undermining human rights, the murder of protesters after the elections. Yeah, so there you go. There you go. So Joe Biden, who knows nothing about Africa. Remember, he thinks Robben Island is in Soweto, the southwest townships of Johannesburg. Of course, Robben Island is, by definition, a frickin' island located in the Atlantic off the coast of Cape Town, 1,000 miles away. But that's Joe Biden. So he's lifted the sanctions that are imposed against corrupt parastatals and ZANU-PF human rights abusers in the foolish hope that it will actually change things. U.S. ends sanctions on Zimbabwe. Now, the American press got it wrong. The South African press got it right. Issues fresh curbs on president. Yep. Today, we're refocusing our sanctions on clear and specific targets. President Mnangagwa's criminal network of government officials and business people who are most responsible for corruption or human rights abuses against the people of Zimbabwe. Said Deputy Treasury Secretary Wale Adeyemio. Excuse me, it sounds West African, not American. Wale Adeyemio. Interesting. When did Ghanaians become part of the Treasury Department? A Durban man was initially accused of being the person behind the bomb threat on Emerson Mnangagwa's flight to Vic Falls. Turns out that that wasn't the case at all, but he nonetheless paid a penalty. Fined 6,000 rand for ammunition found in his bag, but not linked to the bomb scare. Now, there's an update from the story that Lennon Ndebele first told yesterday when he said the man was accused of it. Durban, initially alleged to have been linked to the Victoria Falls bomb scare, has been fined by the government 6,000 rand by Harare court. It earlier claimed South African Quinn Reid Govander had been behind a threat that turned around planes in midair, including one carrying Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa. He had been the John Doe responsible, according to government spokesperson George Charamba. But as of today, Zimbabwe's National Prosecuting Authority did not make that link. Police searched his baggage and found 5 live rounds of ammunition. The accused had intended to board an Airlink flight to South Africa. For sentencing for that crime, he appeared before Harare magistrate Ruth Moya, and he was then hit with a 6,000 rand fine. Oops. New Zealand, racist. Yep, that's right. Racist. Racist all over the world. Evil people of all stripes. So this shameful conduct should be called out for what it is. Rugby team brand New Zealand government rednecks in an altered haka. The Hurricanes prop and haka leader Leilani Parisi said new version was signed off by team management and was not backing down from the message. Of course not. Racists never back down. They believe that they're superior to others. The Wellington Hurricanes will apologize to New Zealand's government after a haka performed by their women's side. And Reese1914 just subscribed. Thank you for subscribing, Reese. Appreciate that. Performed by the women's side, labeled the coalition redneck, local media reported. The team, known as Pua, performed an altered haka using the phrase "Kakatao te kawana kaikihuero," or puppets of this redneck government. Puppets of this redneck government. Before the Super Rugby season opener against the Chiefs, Hurricanes chief executive Avan Lee said he was disappointed by the haka and had not been consulted by the players. Certainly disappointed. There was no discussion, no consultation, and some of the words that were used were interpreted to be very strong. Yeah, they're racist. These are all racist women, every single one of them standing there. Notice that there are no white women. Well, maybe one. No white women. Why does a team majority white country have no white women on its team? Is that discrimination? Is that segregation? Why does this team have no white women on it? Do you see any? I see one white. Well, I can't be sure that's a white woman. Yeah. The Hurricanes shouldn't be making a political statement. If they do, it needs to be agreed across the organization. No, they shouldn't be making any political statements at all. Their haka leader, Leilani Parisi, had a different take and said she presented the haka to management at the last minute and they encouraged the team to go ahead with it. Yeah, I'm sure she didn't give all the details. So here they are. New Zealand's 21st century racist. New Zealand's center-right coalition government, which took office in October, has promised to undo policies of previous governments, particularly those promoting the official use of the Maori language. The move is seen by many indigenous groups as undermining their rights and status has sparked protest. I believe in what we're saying. I stand by it, said Parisi, and therefore you shouldn't be playing professional sports. I believe that in rugby we have a platform where people watch and listen. That's why not use the platform to show people we will never fold. Okay, so Leilani Parisi. So should we allow white supremacists to only have a team full of whites playing rugby and then go up there and say, this black government? You're such an idiot. Such an idiot. Such an innocent. New Zealand sports minister. Why do you have a sports minister? It's the dumbest thing ever. South Africa has a sports minister too. Countries that have a sports minister are broken societies. New Zealand sports minister Chris Bishop said he strongly disagreed with the claims raised, but he said it was free speech. It's free speech to be a racist. Okay, let's mark this date. Let's mark this date, Chris Bishop. It's your prerogative to be a racist when you represent a professional sports team. All right, there you go. It's your prerogative. All right. Now, I don't know any of these clowns, but if there are white supremacists out there, it's kind of like Trump telling Russia, just go after Hillary Clinton's emails. If the white supremacists are out there in New Zealand, well, I suppose you have carte blanche now to say what you want publicly and do so at games. Go carry signs in promoting your cause because apparently it's okay to be a racist, according to the sports minister. Wow. Obviously, I disagree. New Zealanders will make their own judgments, as will Wellington fans of the Hurricanes, he told reporters. We're not a government of white supremacy. That's ridiculous. Well, free speech is not free speech. Yeah. They aren't paid to do that. So the club that they belong to should be firing them. By the way, you're right. It's free speech. They can say what they want, but then nobody should go to their games. By the way, nobody was at their games, folks. Nobody was at their freaking games. Let's go back and look at that crowd there. Here you go. I don't know if you guys can see it very well, but I mean, the stadium is completely freaking empty. I mean, I can count the number of people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. About a dozen people in the stands over there. About a dozen people. So that says all you need to know about these racists. Nobody gives a flip. The Hurricanes, New Zealand Herald reports the Hurricanes will apologize to the government over the redneck haka. Hurricanes will apologize to the government over a haka performed by its women's side, labeling the government redneck. Hurricanes chief executive Avon Lee said he's disappointed by the action. Yep. So here you go. Look at that. Oh yeah, she's fit too. What is she, a hooker? Yeah, front row prop there. I don't see any white women on that team. A team comprised of New Zealanders. Yeah, so there you go. No white women allowed. Well, no one complaining about that. Where are the white women? The whiteies in the stands. Menage Qua says, having lived in Nelson for a year, I've been to Nelson, I can tell you that they do. There are loads of anti-Maori and Pacific Islander racism. Yeah, I'm sure there are. Sure there is Menage Qua. And now they're free to say whatever they want. There's no consequences. It's free speech. It's free speech, according to the sports minister. Of course, the difference is when someone says that in public, that's very different than someone who's paid to do something. Yep. So anyway, yeah, there's just no anger that the team has no white people on it. No, I don't see a single white woman there. All Maori. The people who destroy the ecology of New Zealand. Yeah, that's right. They wiped out all the big birds. Yeah, they destroyed them all. Indiscriminately murdered them. Yeah, they destroyed. Rapacious were the settlers, the Pacific Islanders who settled New Zealand, destroying the ecology of the islands long before Europeans came. Yeah. Well, scientists apparently discovered why people get long COVID. Did you know that? Yeah, apparently it's tied to an iron deficiency. Researchers have pinpointed iron deficiency as a key factor in prolonged recovery from the Rona, commonly referred to as long Rona. A study by the University of Cambridge recently published in Nature Immunology uncovered a significant role of depleted iron levels in post-Rona symptoms. Findings suggest that low iron not only exacerbates inflammation and anemia, but also disrupts the production of healthy red blood cells shortly after contracting the evil Wuhan flu. Yeah. Hey, folks, they found a way to get the gold, the little tiny bits of gold out of electronic components, and this could be a huge benefit to industry and great for people looking for gold. Pulling gold out of e-waste suddenly becomes super profitable. It's reported multiple sources, but I went with this one. A new method for recovering high-purity gold from discarded electronics is paying back $50 for every dollar spent. Wow. The key gold filtering substance in cheese making is what they used. Wow. In a new study, researchers from ETH Zurich, Switzerland, have detailed a sustainable, cost-effective method of selectively extracting gold from electronic waste or e-waste. The food industry byproduct is whey, the watery portion of milk that separates from the curds when making cheese. Here, the researchers have turned this dairy waste into a matrix of protein amyloid fibrils they used as an absorbent to selectively remove gold from e-waste. Under acidic conditions and high temperatures, the whey proteins were denatured, the destruction of the protein structure into a looser, more random one, causing them to aggregate into nanofibrils in a gel. The gel was dried and formed into a sponge. The research extracted metal parts from 20 old computer motherboards and dissolved them in an acid bath to ionize the metals or separate them into positive and negative ions. After absorbing the gold ions, the protein fibril sponge was subjected to heat, reducing the ions to flakes, which eventually melted down into a gold nugget with a mass around 500 milligrams. Analysis revealed the nugget was predominantly gold, 90.1% by weight, with copper and nickel contributing 10.9 and 0.018 respectively. The findings demonstrate the high purity of the nugget corresponding to 21 or 22 carats. So, hey, I bet you people suddenly want your disused computers now. They won't put those in landfills anymore. They'll be digging those things out of landfills, man. They'll be digging them out of landfills. All right. Well, that's some exciting news there. Philippine and Chinese Coast Guard vessels collide in the South China Sea. 4 Filipino crew members are injured. U.S. News and World Report has this story. Chinese Coast Guard ships and accompanying vessels blocked the Philippine Coast Guard and supply vessels off the disputed second Thomas Shoal and executed dangerous maneuvers that caused 2 minor collisions between the Chinese ships and 2 of the Philippine ships. The BRP Sindangan of the Philippine Coast Guard had minor structural damage from the collision that happened shortly after dawn. Over an hour later, another Chinese Coast Guard ship first blocked, then collided with a supply boat the Philippine Coast Guard was escorting, the Philippine officials said. So China's provocations in the South China Sea continue unabated while the Biden regime is asleep. The Indo-Pacific Command should have ships in the area and be interdicting this garbage. But no, the Indo-Pacific Command is busy focused on Korea because Biden's failed foreign policy has emboldened Kim Jong-un in North Korea. The Chinese or the Korean commie leader has been emboldened by the inaction of the Biden regime. And so the South China Seas is where No one's paying attention. China raised their defense budget by 7.2%. Oh, yeah, they just want to be friends. They just want to get along. 7.2% increase in their defense budget. It's already the world's second largest behind the U.S. at $222 billion a year. Now, this is almost the same as last year's rise. Tensions with Taiwan, Philippines, Korea, Japan, Vietnam, all boiling over as the Chinese communists seek to undermine global security. Hey, folks, October 7th. Remember that date? October 7th, that was the date that Hamas terrorists crossed the border. They gang raped. They cut the breast off. They shot in the back of the head the women they gang raped. They took sexual prisoners. They murdered babies. Well, the United Nations has determined that there's reasonable grounds to believe that Hamas actually committed sexual violence on October 7th. November, December, January, February, March. 5 months for the United Nations to make this determination. Wow. Thank goodness they're on the case. UN envoy says there were reasonable grounds to believe Hamas committed sexual violence. You think? UN envoy focusing on sexual violence and conflict said in a new report Monday that there was reasonable grounds to believe that Hamas committed rape, sexualized torture, and other cruel and inhumane treatment of women during its surprise attack in southern Israel on October 7th. There are also reasonable grounds to believe that such violence may be ongoing, says Pramila Patton. Yeah. The report comes 5 months after the October 7th attack, which left 1,200 people dead, 250 others taken hostage. 5 months later. Now, the BBC is more explicit. They get the story correct. Convincing information of sexual violence committed against hostages in Gaza. Wow. They found reasonable grounds to believe that sexual violence is continuing. Yeah, the BBC says, what the UN report said that it did happen, and it's continuing is reasonable evidence. Well, The Guardian also reports on this. UN finds convincing information Hamas raped and tortured Israeli hostages. Well, duh, you think? Yeah. My goodness. The UN, 5 months later. Well, Benjamin Netanyahu's rival Benny Gantz, who suddenly rose back to fame after Hamas's attack on October 7th and was invited back into the cabinet, Benny Gantz is in the U.S. undermining Israel's position with the Biden regime. Benjamin Netanyahu rival Benny Gantz to meet U.S. leaders. Why is a member of the cabinet of Israel in the United States? This is highly inappropriate unless Netanyahu sent him here. Opposition politicians visit hints at cracks in Israeli government, growing frustration in Washington over Gaza war. Israeli War Cabinet member Benny Gantz is set to meet Biden officials on a visit to the United States. Gantz, a former Army chief and defense minister, will be received by Vice President Kamala Harris, dingbat doorknob herself, which is being viewed as a sign of the White House growing frustration over Netanyahu. Why is the White House meeting with opposition political figures in a country that's an ally in the middle of a war? This is treasonous behavior. This is a betrayal by the Biden regime of Jerusalem. And, of course, the cackles in chief, Harris calls for an immediate ceasefire, urging Hamas to agree. Well, thank you for that, Kamala Harris. I thought you were on the border, screwing that up. Yep, in her most forceful comments to date, the vice president called for Hamas to agree to a 6-week pause currently on the table and Israel to increase the flow of aid to end the scale of suffering. Yeah, well, thank you for know-nothing Hamas. Jeremy Corbyn, the disgraced loser in the UK's Labour Party, the man who cost Labour constituencies they had never lost since their creation in the 1920s and 1930s. Jeremy Corbyn, the irascible, the intangible, the corruptible, the cranky Jeremy Corbyn is going to sue Nigel Farage over his opinion. It doesn't work that way, buddy. Former Labour leader calls comments which are believed to be about anti-Semitism disgusting and malicious. Jeremy Corbyn has threatened to take legal action against Nigel Farage over a highly defamatory statement, is what he says. The statement from Mr. Corbyn's team alleged that the former Brexit Party leader had accused Jeremy Corbyn of subscribing to an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Well, we are a movement for peace, and we cannot stand by and let those disgusting and malicious lies go unchallenged. Really? Really? You can't let the lies go unchallenged. You tell them all the time against other people. Anyway, so Jeremy Corbyn will be suing Nigel Farage. Well, France makes history as the first nation in the world to commit suicide intentionally. France has now enshrined in their constitution the right to terminate a human life, the ghoulish criminals that they are. French lawmakers endorsed a change in a rare moment of national unity. The amendment, which passed 780 to 72 in a special joint session of Parliament changes Article 34 of the French Constitution to state that a woman has the guaranteed freedom to have recourse to an abortion. France has reinforced a 1975 law that legalized abortion. The time limit on elective abortion is set at 14 weeks. In recent years, several countries in Europe, including Poland and Hungary, have restricted access to abortion. I never thought I'd live to see this, says Claudine Montet, a 74-year-old historian and youngest signatory of the manifesto of the 343 petition written by French writer and philosopher Simone de Beauvoir in 1971. 343 women include the legendary French actress Catherine Deneuve and writer Marguerite Duras. By signing the manifesto, they went public and saying that they had an abortion, a crime punishable up to 6 years in jail at the time. The manifesto paved the way for the legalization of murder of French children a few years later. So France has put itself in a position of ignominy. These soulless, heartless, cruel bastards have now enshrined in the Constitution the right to murder a child. It's sad. Well, what's going on in Haiti? It's still a mess. The criminals are in charge, man. It's all falling apart. Haiti's entering its second day of a state of emergency after gangs attacked the city's capital's most important prisons over the weekend. Yeah, gangs paraded throughout Port-au-Prince with their arms openly. It wasn't done at night, and the police were nowhere to be found. It's overt involvement of gangs in politics. Leader of the G9 and family gang, Jimmy Cherezier, better known as Barbecue. That's in October 2022. Wow, look at these people, well-armed gangs. The de facto prime minister isn't even in the country. He traveled to Kenya last week. I bet he doesn't come back. Kenyan police are still seen as a solution to Haiti's criminal problem. I don't think so. I think Haitians are the key. It's Super Tuesday here in the United States, 5th of March, and this is when the main primaries are, the big primaries. Nearly 1 million people are already voting in Colorado, a state that tried to keep Donald Trump illegitimately, unconstitutionally, illegally, and demonically off of the ballot. There you go. So Super Tuesday is today, folks. A lot of states are voting, 15 or 16, depending who you listen to. But the Supreme Court has unanimously rejected attempts to ban Trump from ballots. I mentioned that earlier. Donald Trump is on the ballot despite the efforts of Colorado, Illinois, and Maine, and others. Well, what have I told you here for the better part of the entire time that the Jackass Joe administration has been in charge of the United States? That since taking over this country, the Biden regime has illegally, in violation of Title 42, in violation of aviation safety, in violation of federal law, transported criminal alien invaders throughout our country and dumped them in our neighborhoods in places like Tallahassee, Albany, and Harrisburg. I've been telling you this for years, and nobody gives a flip. Nobody in power. Well, guess what? According to news reports, the Daily Mail, and Elon Musk are saying this now too, the Biden regime has admitted that they've sent 320,000 criminal alien invaders secretly into the U.S. to reduce the number of crossings the border. Wow. A lawsuit has revealed that Biden's Customs and Border Patrol is refusing to disclose airports where it's flying undocumented aliens from other countries. Joe Biden's corrupt administration has admitted transporting migrants on secret flights into the U.S. in violation of federal law, the Constitution, aviation safety, and lawyers for its immigration agencies claim revealing the locations could create national security vulnerabilities. Really? Really? Telling us where you've dumped these people? Well, I can tell you, you don't need the press. Harrisburg, Haitians, Harrisburg, Haitians, Harrisburg. Tallahassee, Venezuelans. Tallahassee, Venezuelans. Albany, West Africans and Indians. Yep, that's what's going on. Jonathan makes a ludicrous statement saying that Israel has complete and utter control over America. How? Where's your evidence? Give me your proof. Nikki Haley's last stand. Super Tuesday. Biggest day of 2024 balloting so far plays out today, with Donald Trump likely to deliver another demoralizing blow to Nikki Haley on a day that expected to move him within reach of the Republican presidential nomination. By the way, folks, late tonight, I will be doing a live stream and running through the results of Super Tuesday. We'll have a lot of results today, so stay tuned for that. I think I'll do it on this channel rather than the other channel because nobody's going to the other channel, so probably get more viewers on here. Now, this is where the left is melting down. Are you ready for this? This is funny. Martin Pengaley disgraced himself with an article in The Guardian. Martin Pengaley is a well-known author who writes a lot of stuff, and here he's completely wrong. So let's get this. All right. So U.S. Supreme Court erred badly in Trump ruling, leading historian says. And there's a leading historian I've never heard of. Alan Lichtman. Never heard of him. Supreme Court erred badly based on our amicus brief and our review of history in claiming that a candidate for federal office can only be disqualified by an act of Congress. Actually, that is not true. That is not what the court claimed, and this well-known historian is a liar. what the court said is that the states have no right to remove a candidate for rebellion or insurrection against the federal government. Only Congress can do that. They didn't say that you can't keep someone off the ballot. That lunatic from the Young Turks, he's being kept off the ballot because he's not a natural-born U.S. citizen. He's a Turk who migrated here and he wants to run for president. It doesn't work that way. The Constitution forbids that. He claims the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause means that he gets to run for president. Nope. So he's been excluded from the ballot legally, and a state did that. And a state can remove a candidate who doesn't get sufficient number of signatures, can remove a candidate for something that violates their election law, for something that's already in law. You can remove a candidate that's running for federal office, but you cannot remove a candidate for insurrection or rebellion against the federal government. Only the federal government can do that, according to the 14th Amendment. So this guy's just a liar, Alan Lishman. He's a professor at American University in D.C., and he's the clown who's supposedly predicted every election correct since 1984. Yeah. Yep. For historians, contemporary evidence from the decision makers who sponsored, backed, and voted for the 14th Amendment demonstrates that decision makers crafted Section 3 to cover the president and to create an enduring check on insurrection requiring no additional action from Congress. Actually, that's not even remotely true. The president isn't even mentioned in Section 3. Is not mentioned. And I read Section 3 to you again because apparently these people just don't understand the Constitution. And this is a historian. These are the people who get published because they're leftist. And then they lick the testicles and they do what they have to get their tenure, and then they sit there forever and tell lies. We need Victor Davis Hanson to weigh in on this one. So, the 14th Amendment, Section 3. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or an elector of president and vice president. That means an electoral college voter. Or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state. I was a military officer, and therefore I would be covered by this. Or a former cabinet minister member would be one, who having previously taken an oath, such as a member of Congress or as an officer in the United States or as a member of the state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof, but Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 in each house, remove such disability. Congress, only Congress can make that decision. And the president isn't mentioned there. So this guy's just a liar. Lishman. Lishman spoke to reporters with 3 other signatories of the amicus brief, Manisha Sinha. That's a very, very Irish name, Manisha Sinha, of the University of Connecticut, Brooks Simpson of Arizona State, and Orville Vernon Burton of the University of Illinois. He's probably just mad because his parents named him Orville. Lishman said the brief decisively proved that not a single one of the thousands of ex-Confederates who were disqualified under Section 3 of 14th Amendment were disqualified under an act of Congress. They were automatically disqualified, as Jefferson Davis himself recognized in his trial, and the 2 judges in the trial agreed. So what you're saying is that anyone who claims that someone has had participated in insurrection is barred from the office of president just because you decide so. No, that's not how it works. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in a little-known development, after Nikki Haley's rousing victory in the District of Columbia's primary, the state of North Dakota has held its caucus, and Donald Trump has once again upped his percentage, going from 69% now to 84% of the vote. Yep, Donald John Trump wins the North Dakota Republican caucus running away with 84.6% of the vote. He gets all 29 delegates. Nikki Haley gets 0. She got 14% of the vote. Yep, and some of the caucus sites, he got the lowest figure he got was 81% in Bismarck and Grand Forks. He got 93% in Williston, but there's only, crazy stuff. So there you go. Donald Trump has won decisively North Dakota last night. Not even mentioned by the press. So the running delegate total, you need 1,215 delegates to win the Republican nomination. It's different for the Democrats. They've got thousands more. But 1,215. Donald Trump currently has 273. Before we get to Super Tuesday, people are out voting right now around the country from coast to coast in 15 states as we speak. 273 already. That means he needs less than 1,000 to get there. I think he needs 800 and some. Let's do the math really quickly here. So the math is 1215 minus 273. He needs 942. He needs 942 delegates in order to win the nomination, which he won't win today, probably won't win next week, probably will win on the 19th. Now, here's another one, the leftist bum-hurt whining. This one's from the New York Times. The Supreme Court just erased part of the Constitution. This by David French. As of Monday, March 4th, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution is essentially a dead letter, or at least as it applies to candidates for federal office. Under the Supreme Court's ruling that reversed Colorado Supreme Court's decision striking Trump from the state's primary ballot, even insurrectionists who violate their previous oath of office can hold federal office unless and until Congress passes specific legislation to enforce Section 3. It's a whole... Who proved he was an insurrectionist? Well, here's another one from the leftist. The Supreme Court butchered the disqualification clause. Justice unanimously ignored the plain text of the 14th Amendment to keep Trump on the Colorado ballot, but some of them ignored their oaths as well. Excuse me? Ignored the plain text? I just read the plain text. It's pretty clear. The president isn't included in there, and even if he was, only Congress has the right to do it. Nikki can win Virginia. Yes, scientists, she can win Virginia because Virginia and Vermont have open primaries. Yep. Here's another one from the Atlantic, the extreme left-leaning Atlantic. The Supreme Court once again reveals the fraud of originalism. The justices didn't want to throw Trump off the ballot, and so they didn't. It's always unlikely the Supreme Court with its right-wing majority would uphold Colorado's ruling merely because he tried to execute a coup after losing the 2020 election. A coup. Man was president of the United States. How do you overthrow yourself? Hello. Nonsense. Idiots. Oh, and of course, this clown, married to the Trump acolyte, George Conway. The key thing SCOTUS didn't say in their opinion. Well, why does this idiot get attention? Ugh, I'm not even going to play it. Well, more leftist bum-hurt ass-burning going on here. We sued Trump in Colorado. The Supreme Court's ruling did not exonerate him. He's still guilty. The justice did not address a vital issue, and his silence is incredibly important. That's right. Conventional wisdom regarding Supreme Court's decision allowing Donald Trump to be on the ballot is that it's a big victory for the former president, and the decision does allow Trump presidential campaign to continue. But we'd argue that this perspective misses a key part of the ruling, one that is far less positive for the GOP frontrunner. That's right, because we're angry leftists. Supreme Court had every opportunity to exonerate Trump for his actions during the insurrection on January 6th, and did not. The justice did not substantially take issue with all the court. Okay, the Supreme Court agreed to hear the case, and they addressed one issue, the most important issue. It's unconstitutional for Colorado to do it. There's no need to go beyond that. So they didn't exonerate him for your fictitious MSNBC, your fictitious insurrection. Yeah. Well, Speaker of the House is slamming Democrats because now Democrats, who are the minority in the House of Representatives, are making an argument to do just what they want to do, to bar Trump. Congress, bar Trump. Not going to happen. Speaker slams House Democrats after a report that they'll act after the Supreme Court allows Trump to stay on the Colorado ballot. Spokesman for the Speaker said Democrats just need to get a grip. Agreed. So they cannot win. So now they're going to try another approach. They keep trying to do everything they can to undermine Trump. The guy's the energizer. At some point, you just have to respect Trump, whether you like him or not. Not just Trump. States blocked Democrat Sank Weaver from ballots over how he became a citizen. This clown thinks he should be president. He shouldn't be allowed in the restroom unattended. The most disappointing thing for Sank Weaver about his long-shot presidential bid has been the lack of support from civil liberties and immigrant rights groups, which have been unwilling to help him get on the state primary ballots. The Turkish-born naturalized citizen figured his campaign would be the perfect rallying point for those groups as he tried to break down constitutional barriers that reserve the presidency for natural-born citizens. Yeah, not one of them helped. Good. You have no business being an American president. Sorry. It's bad enough that we're stupid enough to let these people who betray our country become members of our State Department and undermine our foreign policy. Now, I'm going to do something you've never seen me do. Jackson, yeah, that's Kellyanne Conway. That's the thing. I'm going to do something that you've never seen me do. Are you ready for this? Are you all ready for this? Get ready for this. I'm going to defend AOC. Hendo, are you here? I'm defending AOC. You got to mark the date. The behavior of people is ridiculous. The absolute behavior of people, accosting members of government in public on their personal time. AOC snaps at New York City protesters at a movie theater demanding she calls Israel's military campaign in Gaza genocide. It's effed up. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez lashed out at protesters at a Brooklyn movie theater who demanded that the lefty lawmaker call Israel's military campaign a genocide, which she claimed she'd already done. AOC was with her fiancé, Riley Roberts, the beta male, when she lost her cool and dropped an F-bomb as a couple of protesters badgered her at the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema at 5 p.m. on Monday. Protesters complained that AOC hasn't publicly called Israel's bombing of Palestinian territory a genocide as they accosted her inside the downtown Brooklyn theater. And look, the clowns are wearing masks, according to the footage. So here they both look rather concerned. I need you to understand that this is not okay, she told one protester who held an iPhone near her face. It's not okay that there's a genocide happening and you're not actively supporting or actively against it, said the protester. You're lying, she said. Yeah. Then the video cuts everyone going outside with Roberts turning around to confront the rabble-rousers. Stop, he said as Ocasio-Cortez walked in front of him. Okay, stop. She went on a tirade when she was asked if she was afraid the video clip would go viral. You're going to cut it. You're going to clip this so that it's completely out of context. Yep. I already said that, and y'all are just going to pretend that it wasn't over and over again. It's effed up. You're really not helping these people, and you're not helping them. You're not helping them. So I will defend Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. There is no justification to accost a public official on the street like this. I don't care what your views are. Now, clearly, these are leftists attacking a leftist. That's what's kind of funny about it. Yes, Flesh, and you must be born a natural-born U.S. citizen, which means you can be born in the U.S. or U.S. territories. That's the reason why Obama can become president, because he wasn't born in the United States. He was born in a U.S. territory. Hawaii was not a state when he was born. And John McCain was born in the Canal Zone to a military father, but it was U.S. territory. Both of those were U.S. territories, therefore they're natural-born U.S. citizens. Yep. Yeah, no, AOC, I'm defending AOC on that one. Well, the congestion tax that they want to impose to kill New York City is moving along, and it looks like they're going to make it happen. Nation's first congestion pricing program could go into effect as soon as this spring. Hundreds of people voiced their opinions on the final day to weigh in on one of the most sweeping and contentious transportation projects in New York City in decades. Transit officials held public hearings to hear feedback on the nation's first congestion pricing plan, which they hope will reduce traffic. The plan, expected to take effect as soon as this spring, would charge most drivers a $15 toll for entering much of Manhattan below 60th Street. Yep. Taxis will pay a fee as well. So the death of New York. Between the criminal alien invasion of New York, the demonic leftist control of the city, the open sexuality in front of children and minors in Times Square, the rampant theft that's going on, the collapse of the city services, and now you're going to charge $15 per day to enter the city. It's over. It's over. Well, this is good. Hunter Biden hired his acolytes. Well, his acolytes were hired by the White House. These are people that work with Hunter Biden. And according to Joe, it wasn't his fault that the classified documents. Of course, now this story lies because, not the story, but the Biden narrative lies because Biden claims that he didn't. It's not his fault. It was his aides who left the information lying around. But the problem is that Joe Biden habitually compromised classified information going back for decades. We know this. I have first-person eyewitness account of that from my co-host on my radio program who saw him do that as a member of the White House communications team on the Acela train every weekend, violating the law and violating executive order and retention of protection of classified information willfully. He should be in prison, quite frankly. And then beyond that, he stole documents when he was a senator. So you can't blame this on these aides, but this is an interesting story. Hunter Biden helped hire aides who mishandled Joe's classified documents. Within hours of the release of Her's report saying that he willfully retained and disclosed classified materials as a private citizen, Biden rushed to the White House podium to blame his staff. I take responsibility for not having seen actually what my staff was doing. These staffers avoid any criminal charges. Who are they? Without identifying them by name, Special Counsel Her narrowed the subjects to two former aides, Executive Assistant 1 and Staff Assistant 3. He said they gathered more than 180 classified records, totaling more than 600 pages, and packed them into 15 boxes as Biden left the White House in January 2017. That's all true, but what's also true is that Joe Biden stole classified information and documents for years prior to that and left them laying all over the place. So notice how they're conflating or ignoring stories that have to be talked about here. Documents confirm that staffers in question are Kathy Chung, who worked with the Hunter Biden at the Commerce Department, and Anne-Marie Muldoon, née person who worked for him at Rosemont Seneca. Wow. So there is Kathy Chung. Chung and Muldoon were the two most important people in Joe Biden's office suite. They're the gatekeepers who controlled the front office that adjoined the West Wing. He trusted them implicitly since they came to him on the recommendation of his son, Hunter, the crack addict and whoremonger. In fact, it was Hunter who placed them in their sensitive positions inside the White House, where they had unfettered access to the most highly classified, sensitive, compartmented materials recovered during our investigation. Wow. Hunter got his old Commerce colleague Chung her White House job in 2012, a year before Hunter traveled with the Vice President of Air Force One to Beijing to seal a lucrative investment deal. Chung booked the trip. Wow, so the rat goes deeper than we know. Yep. Well, there's a controversial law that disarms veterans. Veterans disarmed. And it's well-intentioned, they claim, but it actually disarms veterans and takes away their gun rights. This is an abomination. People who defend this country are not allowed to protect themselves with firearms because they're in financial difficulty. Now, they've set this up claiming that anyone who has financial difficulty is mentally ill, and they're terming veterans who are on hard times as mentally ill. This is an abomination. It's a disgrace. And I didn't report on the story last week when it came to attention because I wanted more details, but now more has come out. Veterans Gun Group Amendment included in the compromise must-pass VA spending bill. Veterans appointed a financial manager by the Department of Veterans Affairs will not automatically be barred from buying guns under must-pass legislation to fund the VA that Congress is expected to approve this week. Legislation would bar the Veterans Administration from reporting veterans who are found incapable of managing their own finances to the FBI's National Background Check Database without first getting a judge's consent. So if you are a veteran and you've lost your job or you've gone through a divorce or cancer has caused you to lose all your life savings and mortgage your house and now you're destitute, if you need help from the Veterans Administration and you turn to them for financial advice and help solving this, they will turn you in as a mentally defective person and have you barred from having firearms because you have financial difficulties. Sick. Now, here is what Newsweek said about the same story. Mentally incompetent Americans would have access to guns under a new bill. That's factually wrong. It's a disgrace, and these scumbags at Newsweek need to be called out on that. These are not mentally incompetent Americans. These are veterans who have financial difficulties as a consequence of a number of different things. Each case is different. A deal made by congressional leaders to avert a partial shutdown of the U.S. government includes an attempt to ease some veterans' access to gun ownership, even when they are deemed mentally incompetent to handle their own finances. That is not true. These veterans are automatically put in that category as mentally incompetent, whether they have mental illness or not. This is a disgrace. And this is a disgrace by Newsweek to carry this story. Well, McGregor says that he warns that the Courage to Serve Act would allow migrants to obtain citizenship by joining the military amid shortage of white Americans. Former Colonel Douglas McGregor slammed proposals for a new law that would allow vetted and qualified migrants an expedited path to citizenship. He described the new bill, introduced by Hudson Valley Congressman Pat Ryan, as a problem stemming from the ideological bubble in Washington. Well, there's a problem with this Douglas McGregor. He's right about something. He says none of these people are Americans. We know from having interviewed them that they have no aspiration to be Americans. What they aspire to is get into the conscription machine, get the ticket of entry, the free check, the free phone, the free transportation, the free food, the free medical care. They don't deserve this. They haven't worked for any of it. In the meantime, what do Americans get? We have a force right now that can't defend anything anywhere overseas very successfully. Wow. The United States military is the smallest size it's been in more than 80 years, with 1.2 million people in uniform. Wow. Wow. We say you're building democracy, and people burst out laughing. It's nonsense, of course. It's nonsense. How is this defending America? And I think this is a huge part of the problem. If you ask 100,000 men, white, black, or anything, what are you prepared to do? They're prepared to defend the United States. But you don't see much evidence that would defend the United States. Well, here's the problem, Douglas McGregor. We already have this. We've had this for decades. Foreign nationals can enlist in U.S. military from abroad, not from the United States, from abroad, and serve as enlisted members. You cannot become an officer. You couldn't be an officer unless you were natural born. Now you can be a naturalized person to become an officer, which is a huge change that happened about 20 years ago. But you cannot serve as an officer unless you're a natural born U.S. American citizen or a U.S. citizen. You can serve in the military, and it's a faster path to citizenship. It accelerates the 5-year waiting period to 3 years. That's been the case, and hundreds of thousands of Americans are now Americans because of this. So Douglas McGregor, I don't really know what he's getting on about. He's misrepresenting the situation in his conversation with Tucker Carlson, and that's just wrong. If you're going to tell the truth, you need to tell the truth. Douglas McGregor's right that these criminal alien invaders coming across our borders shouldn't be entertained to be members of our military. But foreign nationals who are willing to take an oath to the U.S. Constitution and serve in our military, even though they're not our citizen, and give their lives for it, is a tradition that goes back to the Civil War, when Irish and Germans enlisted in large numbers in the Union Army and the Confederate forces, in the Union Army in particular, and they got their citizenship quicker as a consequence of it. This is a long-held practice. I'm not for or against it, but I'm obviously here to tell you the truth. But Douglas McGregor is only telling part of the story, and that's very disheartening. Very disheartening, Colonel McGregor from Colonel Wyatt. Yep. Well, the Pentagon leaker who gave all that information away faces 16 years in prison. Massachusetts guardsmen and gamers shared sensitive information. Jack Teixeira, 22, pled guilty to 6 counts of willful retention, transmission of national defense information under the Espionage Act nearly a year after he was arrested. So Jack Teixeira, 22, is going to get 16 years in prison for the willful retention and transmission of national defense information under the Espionage Act. But Joe Biden, according to investigator Herr, has committed willful retention and transmission of national defense information as vice president of the United States, but he's not even being charged with a crime. Dual system of justice? Do you really need that explained to you? Wow. Unbelievable. Jack Teixeira is going to go to jail for 16 years. And he should. He should. I'm not arguing that. He belongs in jail. He belongs in jail. He's a traitor. But so is Joe Biden. Should have stricter gun laws in the USA. Nope. Yeah, flesh and nose someone enlisted in the U.S. Army got citizenship. Exactly. So I don't know what Douglas McGregor is going on about. Biden is not too old to be charged scientist. Then if he's too old to be charged, then he's too old to serve as president. Charles says that's what he usually does. Conor McGregor always with half a story or the story on a specific slant. Well, that's exactly. Look, I didn't see it, but this is what the Mail is reporting. And if that's the case, he's simply wrong. He's factually wrong. I mean, and there's flesh and just confirm what I said. When I was in basic training, now, as a consequence of our war with Spain, Puerto Ricans are considered American citizens, but they don't pay income taxes. What a good deal for them. They do pay a tax in Puerto Rico, but it's nothing. They pay 4% of their income to Puerto Rico, but they keep 96%. I don't even get half my income. It's stolen by Pennsylvania and the federal government and the Social Security Administration, but Puerto Ricans get over. So a lot of content creators have been moving to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has seen a huge uptick in migration of the whiteys and others to Puerto Rico in recent years as a consequence of their very favorable tax laws, which have been clarified recently. So a lot of money's pouring into Puerto Rico to develop it. But when I went to basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, we had a bunch of Puerto Ricans in our basic training course. Now, they're American citizens, but they didn't speak English. I've never seen an American didn't speak English. They only spoke Spanish. So they went to basic training getting yelled at and only speaking Spanish. So they went to class every night after training to learn English. Wow, what a tough road to hoe that was. Yep. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Charles. People are always asking about Douglas McGregor. Scott Ritter is bad. You're correct. Yep. He explains my take. That explains my take as Ukraine-Russia. He's not entirely truthful or missing with pertinent facts. Yeah, I don't know if he's not being truthful, but he's definitely missing with pertinent facts. Look, I came out against supporting Ukraine early on, not because I don't like Ukraine. I don't like Russia, that's for sure, but because the narrative was simply a lie. A lie. It was a lie. And it still is a lie to this day, and it's not helping anyone. Instead of, do you see any peace talks? Where's Joe Biden's peace conference? Where's the UN peace conference? Where are conversations between Zelensky and Putin? There are none. There's no desire for peace. Arctic, I cannot say for 100%, but I believe if you serve 3 years honorably, you can apply for citizenship on an accelerated basis. I believe that's the rule. Normally, you have to have 5 or 7 years to apply for U.S. citizenship, something like that. Maybe it's 5 and 7. I don't know. But anyway, but it's quicker than being just, a regular person. Because of their gun laws, the U.S. has the biggest self-defense in modern times. Civil war with Democrats. Charles says, I understand your point of view on Ukraine. You were very clear. Boris Johnson scuppered the peace talks between Putin and Zelensky. So we'll never start them again? Where's Joe Biden's efforts at peace? If if Joe Biden and Victoria Nuland restored America's role in diplomacy globally, where's this at? Nowhere. No, Arctic, that's not true. It doesn't take 20 years to become a citizen. I know people have gotten it much quicker than that. Yeah, 5 years. Yeah, I think it's 3 if you serve honorably in the military. Yep. Well, lots of military. I don't know. Actually, right now we probably have at least 40,000 foreign nationals serving the U.S. military out of 1.284 million people. Probably. Yeah, let's see. How many? Let me see. Google. So here's a fact sheet. What are requirements for non-citizens joining U.S. military? Join U.S. military, non-citizens must be living permanently legally in the United States. Non-citizens must also have permission to work in the United States. Okay, that's a change. You didn't have to live in the United States. How many non-citizens currently serve in the U.S. military? Between 1999 and 2010, approximately 80,000 non-citizens joined the U.S. military. Yeah, most recent data show that 24,000 were on active duty in 2012. Yeah, so I said 40,000. That was in 2012. How many non-citizen service members have naturalized? Since from 2001 to 2015, 109,321 non-citizen service members became citizens. And 2,650 spouses became citizens. Yep, so 109,000 in that 14-year period. What are the naturalization requirements for non-citizens? Generally, non-citizen service members wishing to naturalize must demonstrate good moral character, knowledge of English, knowledge of the government history, attachment to the U.S. and allegiance to the Constitution. Non-citizen service members may waive residency requirements necessary for naturalization. Yep. How many veterans are foreign-born? As of 2016, 511,000 foreign-born veterans lived in the United States, making up 3% of the total veteran population. 82% of them were immigrants, were naturalized U.S. citizens, with the top 2 countries being Mexico, 83,000, the Philippines, 68,000, and others, Germany, 33,000, Canada, 31,000, Haiti, 17,000, and India, 15,000. Yep, so there you go. But you cannot be a federal officer, an officer in the military. Yep, there's a fact sheet. Yep. Every branch of the military has its own standards for enlisting, so, okay. Yeah, you cannot join the military to enter the U.S. or get a visa. Yep. So if you're a foreign national here with a permanent green card, you can join. Yep. There you go. Warmongers in the USA have the year of Biden, so no peace until Trump gets elected. Yep. Modern day mercenaries, which is fine as long as they are loyal, but don't want trained soldiers in our borders that don't love the country and its people. Agreed. Sign me up. Save all the money I'm paying to lawyers. I hear you. Oh, Marilyn, I didn't even see you were here. Take care. Thanks for being in. Appreciate it. We are not just over an hour here now. New York City's overpriced already, so what's another 15? Well, for people that don't have money, it's a lot. And watch the young Turk get schooled by Douglas Murray. Okay. I'm sure it's easy to school. He's an idiot. Jackson says McGregor's a crackpot. I don't know that he's a crackpot. I just know that people keep asking me about him, and usually when they ask me about him, I have to correct something that they claim he said. So, yep. Yeah, you have to be born in the U.S. to be president. Did you fall off your solar panel? What are you talking about? What is Arctic asking about falling off a solar panel? Why would I be on my solar panel? I know you're being facetious, but it's on a roof. I don't climb on my roof. I haven't been on my roof in 5 years. How does immigration happenings affect you in Pennsylvania? Well, immigration doesn't affect... okay, well, let's be clear, Patrick. Immigration is departure. So how does immigration affect us in Pennsylvania? Well, our tax base is getting lower. We've lost a seat in the Congress, so we're down to just 17 instead of 18 seats now because our population has declined as people leave the state for greener pastures. So that's how immigration affects us in Pennsylvania. Immigration is also affecting us by rapidly changing the demographics. So good or bad, I'm not going to make an argument in either case, but I will tell you that going to the local grocery store, I never saw a single person that wasn't, an Anglo ever for 7 years. And now I go there and it's a host of Arabs and Afghans and West Africans, and none of them, I don't know where they live. I don't know where they live because I don't see them anywhere where I'm at. And I'm out campaigning right now, so that makes me wonder where the heck these people are living at. But anyway, yeah, no, there's a huge change in demographics taking place. And my concern about that is that I don't know any of these people. It's not my business who they are, but with the change, do we have loyalty to the country? We only have loyalty to the country from people on the political left. And yeah. Oh, because you're defending OEC. Gotcha, Arctic. Thank you. Yeah, well, that was a long time ago that you said that. So, yeah, well, look, I'm defending and I'm castigating the behavior of people acting like fools who happen to be leftists. So AOC is correct, or she shouldn't be attacked like that in public. I mean, look, we all know that Republicans want to date her. I mean, look, she's dating a ginger-haired beta boy. So, you know. Just saying. Yeah, I think you meant immigration. That's why I did both. How is this mass arrival affected crime? Well, here, not so much yet. Not so much yet. But it has affected housing prices. It has affected rentals available. It has affected, it's overwhelmed our charitable institutions. We have an organization here that delivers food to those who are in need. It helps with rent. It's an incredible faith-based organization, and they do wonderful work. They have an amazing warehouse, and you know they help people out who are in need. But they are suffering from a huge uptick in the number of people who need their services because people are being dumped in our community. Yep. There's a lot of pressure on everything. Exactly. Arctic would rather date a grizzly bear. Oh, my goodness. Must be a lot of pressure on everything. There is a lot of pressure in all these institutions, all these actions. It really is the case. And things are worse in other parts of the state. In Philadelphia, things are really bad. In Harrisburg, things are bad. Here, not so much so far, but it will happen. There isn't much in the way of social housing anywhere in my district, and so that's probably one reason why it's not happening. But if Pennsylvania goes the way of California by subsidizing loans for non-citizens, then who knows what'll happen. Full back teeth. Oh my God. See a lot more. Yes. Anyway. So Donald Trump has won the North Dakota caucus, and he is on a path to the nomination. So let me just go ahead and see if we can't get some updates on the Super Tuesday. Poll results won't be in yet, but there'll be some reporting on. Let's see if there's any reporting on Super Tuesday. Facebook, Instagram down. 1,000 users report problems getting in. There you go. That's making the news now. Trump all but certain Republican nomination. 16 states vote, according to The Guardian. 6 Super Tuesday states to watch by the Washington Post. You want to bet that they say Virginia and Vermont of the two? Let's see what they say. Right. Variety. Okay, here we go. Facebook, Instagram down. Thousands of users report problems, including getting logged out. Meta's family of apps, including Facebook and Instagram, were experiencing widespread technical problems today with thousands of users logging errors and accessing the social media services. Users reported including being logged out of Facebook, and when they attempted to log back in, saw an error message such as something went wrong. Please try again. About 76% of the problems reported by Facebook users related to trouble logging in. 500,000 error reports as of 11 a.m. Instagram users reported that their feed was not refreshing. They were unable to post anything to the platform. The outage extended to messaging and Threads, the company's Twitter-like app. In a post on Twitter, Facebook, which has Threads, had to go onto Twitter to tell people. On a post on Twitter, Meta spokesperson Andy Stone wrote that 10:52 this morning, just before it went live, we're aware people are having trouble accessing our services. We're working on this now. In an alert at 10:17, reported major disruptions with the following message. We are aware of an issue impacting Facebook login. Our engineering teams are actively looking to resolve the issue as quickly as possible. An update at 12:07, which was 19 minutes ago, page said the Facebook login service are in the process of being restored. Apologize for any inconvenience. Oh, my goodness. Wow. So Facebook and Instagram, as well as Threads, are down. Internet theories run wild as Facebook and Instagram crash. Conspiracy theorists have run wild after Facebook and Instagram both crashed on the same Super Tuesday. Republicans and Democrats baselessly theorized that crash was intended to help the other side while voters take to the polls in 16 primaries. What a coincidence that Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are down. YouTube is never down. On Super Tuesday, one conservative commentator tweeted, "Practice run for November." Another said, "Call me a conspiracy theorist, but Facebook and Instagram being down on Super Tuesday, a day where 16 primaries are happening, does not feel like an oopsies coincidence." Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton also chimed in on the mania, noting the national outrage on Facebook and Instagram on Super Tuesday, or outage. The wild political theories come just a week after AT&T service crashed. On Tuesday, hundreds of thousands of users were left unable to access their social media accounts. Well, Super Tuesday, Donald Trump, according to The Guardian, is all but certain to win the nomination now. Yep, Donald Trump's grip on the Republican nomination for president is all but certain to be confirmed on Tuesday. Well, it won't be confirmed today, but it'll be close. Yeah, it will be close. Yep. On the Democratic side, Joe Biden is all but sure to defeat his also-ran challengers, Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson, the self-help author. Yep, there you go. So, according to the Washington Post, 6 Super Tuesday states to watch. Let's see what they claim they are. Okay, here you go. 865 delegates at stake today for the Republicans. And after this, there'll be 1,233 left. So there are the states voting today: California, Alaska, Utah, Colorado, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, North Carolina, Virginia, Minnesota, Vermont, Maine, Massachusetts, all voting today. So here's 4 states I want to keep an eye on: Massachusetts, Vermont, Utah, Virginia. Yeah, I was right. I said Vermont, Virginia. Massachusetts is the closest poll of any Super Tuesday, with Trump winning 55 to 38%. Vermont, one of Trump's worst states in 2016. Utah, very conservative and holding caucuses, which should help Trump, but Trump's relationship with Mormon Republicans has always been a bit awkward. And Virginia, Haley just won D.C. Her first victory, and voters in neighboring Northern Virginia should give her a base of support. So there you go. All right. Uncommitted, part 2. Wow. Super Tuesday states, Minnesota and Colorado, trying to keep Biden in the uncommitted category. So, all right, let me see if I've got this image and give you a map of all this stuff. I got this from one of the sites earlier. Let me see. Map. Super Tuesday. Alrighty, let's see if I can get this image up here and we'll talk about it. Downloads, come on. Where are you at? That's not it. Oh, it didn't show up. Well, son of a gun. Well, that sucks. It's not here. Huh. Well, I don't have it. Let me see if it showed up over here. Nope. It's missing in action. Never mind. I was trying to get something up here to show you, but it's not available. So that's interesting. There we go. Struggling to get on Facebook in South Africa side. Well, it was global. Nothing to see here, folks. Just weeks after cellular networks got hit. Well, yeah, it's not like the Chinese or the Romanians or the Iranians or the Russians are targeting communications networks now. Yep. Back up at Facebook now, says Julie. Okay, I'm back too. I'd rather die. Grizzly bear. What's this? I missed something there. There's a South African that is commander in the United States Air Force Auxiliary Civil Air Patrol is now a third. Okay, well, the Civil Air Patrol is not the Air Force Auxiliary, Steve. No, I was in the Civil Air Patrol. It's a private civil organization. They wear Air Force uniforms. They practice drill and ceremony. They have ranks, but they're not a military organization. It's a civilian organization with a military structure, and they do search and rescue operations and things like that. I was in the Civil Air Patrol as a young kid. They do have ties to the Air Force. The Air Force does, their headquarters used to be, I think, at Maxwell Air Force Base, but I don't know where it's at now. It can be an S3 operations officer in the Tennessee National Guard. That's very possible. Then he's in the military. But being in the Civil Air Patrol is not the military. That's not accurate. Yeah, so sorry I missed that earlier. I just happened to catch that now, Steve. Okay. Yeah, let me look up the Civil Air Patrol. You guys can learn about that. Civil Air Patrol. Okay. Wow. Okay, I'm sorry. I misspoke. They are an auxiliary. I think I just said they're not an auxiliary. Yeah, I apologize for that. They're official auxiliary. My apologies. Yeah, but they're not military. I want to make sure people understand that. It's not a military organization. So I correct myself. Just realized it. So U.S. Civil Air Patrol, U.S. Air Force Auxiliary. So let's go here, who we are. So Civil Air Patrol's formation in the earliest days of World War II, the vigilant organization Citizen Airmen has been committed to service in America. Founded December 1st, 1941, mobilized civilian aviation resources for National Defense Service. It's evolved into a premier public service organization. As a total force partner, auxiliary of the Air Force, Civil Air Patrol is there to search for and find the lost, provide comfort in times of disaster, and work to keep the homeland safe. It's more than 64,000 members selflessly devote their time, energy, and expertise towards the well-being in their communities. Now, here's the problem I have with them. As I go to the site, I've already found this. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. No. 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 Civil Air Patrol diversity includes, but is not limited to personal life experience, geographic background, socioeconomic background, cultural knowledge, educational background, work background, language abilities, physical abilities, race, color, sex, age, religion. No. Sorry. No thanks. Nope. Nope. This is simply racist. DEI. Racist garbage. Civil Air Patrol. So let me find local squadron. Well, that works real well. It didn't work at all. Okay. Our history. Okay, 1936 to 41, post-war, Cold War, evolving missions, new millennium. Yeah. In 2014, Barack Obama signed a legislation law awarding Congressional Gold Medal to the approximately 200,000 World War II members of CAP. The medal is the country's highest expression of appreciation for distinguished achievements. Okay, well, it'd be nice if we got that for all our service in the CAP, Civil Air Patrol. I didn't get that, so that was nice. I didn't know that. So what we do, here you go. This is what they do. Emergency services, aerospace education, cadet programs. Civil Air Patrol's cadet program transforms youth into dynamic Americans and aerospace leaders through a curriculum that focuses on leadership, aerospace, fitness, and character. Cadets participate in these four elements. They advance through a series of achievements, earning honors and increased responsibilities along the way. Many of the nation's astronauts, pilots, engineers, and scientists first explored their careers through the Civil Air Patrol. And I first explored my military experience through the Civil Air Patrol as well. What woman is repulsive? If you have to grizzly bear, you'll get... you guys are just being mean to AOC. Anyway, Civil Air Patrol. Well, thanks for sharing that, Steve. Appreciate it. And I corrected myself on the fly there. I realized I said they weren't an auxiliary. Misspoke there. Yeah, they are an auxiliary of the Air Force. And like I said, their headquarters was at Maxwell Air Force Base. I don't know if it's still there. I used to run right in front of it when I was down at Maxwell. Yep. Anyway, so, all right, folks, an hour and a half, 96 likes. We're so close to 100. We didn't quite get there. Darn. Let me see how we did in the last live streams. Did we get 104? Each of the ones previously has got 100 likes. That's cool. Yep. Yeah. 172 likes on my election. What did you guys think of the Axis of Evil video? Did you guys watch that? Anybody watch the Axis of Evil video that I did about the ANC, the live stream? What are your thoughts? Anyone like that? Just let me know. All right. Thank you all for being here. Erica is getting ready for bed. Okay. And I've got to go to physical therapy. And then I've got some campaigning to do after that. So thanks a lot, everybody. Take care of yourselves. We'll catch you on the flip side here. And have a lovely, lovely day. All right. Thanks for your patronage and your help. 99 likes. Ooh, 99 bottles of beer on the wall. 99 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. 98 bottles of beer on the wall. Well, there's 100. Thanks a lot, guys. All right. Cheers, everybody. Take care and be safe out there. We'll catch you later on. Super Tuesday. I will do a live stream tonight, probably 11 Eastern Standard Time, which would make it 6 a.m. South African time. I'll post it. If you want to see the Super Tuesday results, you can tune in. All right. Catch y'all later. Cheers.